about sending notes to draftees during World War I, suggesting insubordination. He believed that he was protected by the First Amendment, but the Supreme Court, in a unanimous decision, indicted and convicted him, saying that he was in violation of the Espionage Act. The Justice of the Supreme Court said that his conviction was not a violation because the things that can normally be said during peacetime cannot be said during wartime. This case of 1919 was one of the most influential cases because it clarified the First Amendment right to freedom of speech and set up the clear and present danger test. Clear and present danger test says that a person will not be protected by any means if their speech conflicts with the government or creates a danger to the government. People today need to understand that the First Amendment to freedom of speech only gives people that freedom to a certain extent, especially teens today who want to be able to speak our mind without being prosecuted for it. So we need to know we can't say whatever we want to whomever we want. The time, place, and the manner in which we say it is important.
All right, Emilio will be speaking on behalf of Gibbons v. Ogden.
Boom, okay. I'm glad you know what you're doing. I'm not. 2 minutes, 30 seconds?
2.
2, okay. As you know, Gibbons v. Ogden, as I said before, is a case directly in correlation with the Commerce Clause. Aaron Ogden applied for a state license in New York to use steamboats, whereas Gibbons had a federal license. It was taken to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled in favor of Gibbons 6-0. Now, after this decision, Chief Justice John Marshall said the following in definition to how far the power of Congress extends. The power of Congress, then, comprehends navigation within the limits of every state in the Union, so far as that navigation may be in any manner connected with commerce with foreign nations or among the several states. In other words, the Congress can do whatever it wants in regards to interstate commerce, international commerce, as long as it does not conflict with any lines set by the Constitution saying Congress cannot cross this. I will now turn to Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution, the Commerce Clause itself, which states thusly: the Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises, etc., to regulate commerce with foreign nations and among the several states. It goes on to talk about rule of naturalization and bankruptcies, but does not again take up the subject of commerce. One will note that the Constitution itself does not lay down any specific guidelines for the regulation of this power. Therefore, Gibbons v. Ogden, even as far back in history as it was, set no real bar line for where Congress has to stop.
You have 1 minute.
My case is the most important. While freedom of speech in and of itself is a very important right, you will notice that in the Constitution, before the Bill of Rights, before any of the amendments, it has the articles which regulate functions and regulate what it is able to do. Before you can have any sort of existing rights in a country, you must have the foundation of the country itself. Therefore, I say that the functions of the government, the limitations of the government, and the government's power come before the rights. You must have a foundation before you can set any sort of basis for the nation after that. Therefore, I argue that my case is